and making him responsible for his choices and giving him a way to evaluate his choices. One of the reasons why I think this is such a critical ministry, if I use that word ministry, or discussion group, because I don't want to get overly, religious, but having a faith-based paradigm weaves in a moral compass by which you can evaluate every decision you make. So you'll make fewer bad decisions when you have a moral compass to tell you that that's not a good decision to make. I think the second thing is that you can look beyond your own what feels good to me paradigm, or I'm not hurting anybody paradigm. That's such a common one now. It's very egocentric. If it isn't hurting anybody, I can do what I want to do. And I just think that it's just crazy that, oftentimes we do not use something beyond our own thinking to create our decision paradigm. And to make wise decisions, sometimes you have to look beyond what you know to something greater than yourself. And who has the most wisdom? God himself has the most wisdom because he's been here the longest. So I think that that's a very critical point. And I think, Nola, you did put the freedom of choice in your son's hand, which I think was masterful. But I think in addition to that, you also brought him to an understanding of why he should make a particular decision and the importance of making certain types of decisions. And that's brilliant. And that kind of is a segue into what we started this conversation about, which is how does a man become the leader and be the type of represent the types of characteristics of priest, provider, and protector if he has not seen them modeled. And the answer to that is clearly you have to seek a higher power. You have to seek some other reference to give you understanding other than earthly ones, because every human being falls short. And, even if you look at your parents, no parent is perfect. I have a dad who married 12 times. And that's not including the number of women he had in his life. Those are just the ones that he married. And I think, when you think about people having challenges, that seeing that type of life and trying to put that in some sort of context, it's very, very difficult. But I think when you make a choice, and that's one of the reasons why on every topic that we have discussed, we discuss the importance of choice. When it comes to gender preference, choice. When it comes to adultery, choice. When it comes to raising your children, choice. When it comes to being a man of integrity, it's a choice. They're not easy choices. And for some, with an interwoven, it's interwoven with family challenges and nurturing that are difficult to overcome. But yet and still, it's a choice. And I think once we recognize the importance of the freedom that comes with choice, and that we need something beyond just our ability to look at arm's length at something, that I think will help us to make wiser choices. And that's what this is all about. And I think it was great, Nola, that you decided to allow yourself to be vulnerable in discussing the challenges that you face and how you're trying to guide your son away from the kinds of choices that influence your life negatively. And I think that's brilliant. It's excellent. It's excellent. Gentlemen, before we go, I did want to ask one final question, and this is for any member of the group. If you had to think of the single most important factor in creating strong leadership skills, what do you think that would be? And that's open for any and everybody in the panel.
BA here, okay. And as you said that, the only thing I could think of is, where do I find leadership? Where do I find value in life? Where do I look? And there's a book out there called the Bible, y'all, and it is so filled with truth and testimony from many different men from over 2,000 years ago, to men of stature, to men of want, to men of cripples, to men that have all type of ailments. And those men have been written down. Their stories have been told through the books in the Bible to help us become that leader that we need to be. Yes, I will state that the Bible is literally about Jesus Christ and about his story and how he came to this earth, and I'm not going to put a lot of emphasis into that whole story, but there's other men in that Bible that were used by God and just helped the nations come alive. The other men become leaders, and I could go on and on about examples in the Bible, but I'm not. I'm just going to say, I point you to the Bible, and if you've never read it, I just say, open it up, and whatever you want to believe, your higher power, creator, builder, whatever, just put it out there that, hey, I'm going to read this book, but I'm going to listen. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to seek something. And in that book, it will show you a whole lot about leadership.
That's an excellent point. Go ahead, Mustang.
No, this is Noah 3. I'm going to also close with, sometimes we, as people, we have to, one thing God has given us is the ability to see. We have sight, and we have sight for a reason. Sight is just not to just look at women. Sight is just not to look at, what you're going to steal or what you're going to take. Sight is not just for the negative. Sight is also for, beauty, the appreciation of clouds, the appreciation of a woman, the appreciation of kids. And so with that sight, one of the things I would go on the record to say is that a lot of people see people that is good. People can walk down the street, and see that, this is a good person. This is a woman. This is a good. So if we have this ability to see good in people, we have the ability also to rationalize and to think, that person, I think I can learn something from. We study people. As people, we study people. And so, you can never tell me that you never been around or you never saw someone that you couldn't go to and ask a question to. One of the things I'm also going to record to say is for those kids out there that feel like they're under peer pressure from their peers or the groups that they're in, there's nothing wrong with, being man or woman enough to go and ask somebody. Who cares if somebody call you a chicken? The real chicken is not standing up and saying, I'm going to seek more wisdom. The real chicken is the person that's telling you that you are a chicken, because that's the person that is the chicken, because they don't want you to leave them. They need you. So stand up, be that, that stand up woman, be that stand up guy. And if you feel like you need wisdom, reach out to, Convo from the Cave. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you. We can, we're a group of men that have wisdom. We know people that can help. We got organizations behind us that we can refer you to get you the insight or the information or the protection or the guidance. That's what we are here for. Convo from the Cave. All right.
That's excellent. Mustang, did you have a few final thoughts that you wanted to share as well?
Yeah, definitely. The biggest thing for me, if you're looking to be a leader in your home, especially if you're a man and you're literally sitting there like, what do I do? What do I do? And it's the simplest thing. It is the simplest thing, but it is the hardest thing. And that's to be a servant. And I mean that in every sense of the word. You be a servant. You be a servant to your family. You do what needs to be done when you don't want to. You're kind. You're patient. You're merciful. You do what's right when you don't want to. If you are a servant in your home, I assure you, you will gain in that time. You will gain power. You will gain strength. You will gain so much more authority than you think that you have in being a servant, because you are choosing to be a servant. Jesus did that. I lay this out for my kids, and I'll make this quick because I know wrapping this up, I lay this out for my kids. I said, who in here makes the money? And they were like, you do. Who in here feeds you? You do. Who owns the house? You do. Who does this? Who does that? We just went down the list. I said, well, I don't understand then. Well, if that's the case, why don't I have you guys cooking for me? Well, I don't know. Well, if that's the case, I don't understand. Why don't you guys bathe me? I'm the leader. I own everything. Everything. There's nothing my children can give for me that I need. Nothing. I don't need them for anything. And people are going to think, oh, that's harsh. It sounds so harsh. I don't need them for food, for water, for air, for love. I can find love anywhere. I don't need them for love either. But guess what? I want them. I want them for those things. But I provide all those things to them. So I asked them the same, again, to go back to that. Well, why don't you guys provide those things to me? I don't understand. I provide those things to you because I love you. I'm a servant to you. And in that servitude, I show them something. I'm able to give them something. And that's how to get through this world, how to do what's right. And moreover than everything, to live how Jesus lived. And in that, I actually gain authority. My children look up to me. My children come to me for questions. My children come to me with problems that are very personal. They come to me for things they may not even go to their mom about. So you gain so much more authority, guys, anybody listening, than when you are a servant to your family, than when you try to be the boss, as we've seen in lots of elections in different years. When you, a lot of times when people want to be the boss real bad, they're actually the ones that don't need to be the boss. And sometimes the people who are meek, believe it or not, they inherit the earth. So that's my 2 cents.
Excellent point on which to conclude this conversation from the cave. I am your host, Kirk Kennedy. We have been joined in studio by our panel that we enjoy each and every week, who provide great insight. If you'd like to reach out to us, feel free to touch base with us on our Conversations from the Cave page on Facebook. We're also on Twitter, and we are on YouTube, as well as iTunes. We'd love to have you subscribe also to our Spreaker.com page, and that will keep you aware and abreast of all of the latest podcasts that we have broadcast.